I want to talk to you about the manipulation of money. So remember that manipulation means that somebody uses your emotions to get you to do what they want. It's emotional manipulation, or it can be blackmail, can be creating fear within you that if you don't do something, that they're going to take something away that you desperately want, or they're not going to do something for you that you need. Or it could be that somebody is just simply offering you money, and yet you know it comes with conditions. And those conditions are not spelled out, they're not expressed clearly, but they are manipulatively demanded or suggested or used against you later. So let's kind of get into the more specifics of these. And remember, the alternative to being manipulative with money is to just be straightforward. If you want to give somebody something, you offer it, you tell them if you have any expectations, and the person gets to choose if they want the money under those conditions. Or if it is that somebody is asking you for money, the person would ask you, instead of manipulatively, they would ask you directly, are you willing to help me with blank, my rent, my car payment, my education, with whatever that is? And you would have the opportunity, straightforward, to say yes or no, or talk about any concerns that you have. Manipulators don't do that. Manipulators use a variety of means to try to get from you what they want without directly asking you. So in the case of giving money or controlling money, if somebody might control your access to money in a relationship, say in a marriage, where one partner, typically a man, but not always, would take the money and decide how much you would be able to get. Now, I'm not talking about the situations where somebody is completely irresponsible with money, and in order to protect the assets of the marriage, someone has to take control. That is not manipulative. That is straightforward. That is saying, these are the situations that we're dealing with. This is what's going on. And based on that, I'm going to do this. And the other person cooperates and would obviously have to give you permission, because you cannot just take somebody's money away. That's an adult person that you're married to or is on your bank account. So it would be somebody who was basically taking control or getting control of all the money manipulatively, telling you one thing but doing another, or threatening you that if you don't give them all the money, that something isn't going to happen or is going to happen. And so under kind of a threat, you give over your paycheck, or you give that person access to your accounts by putting that person, say it's somebody just that you're dating or somebody that you know, but you're not married to, that person demands to be put on your account. And so you give that person option to your account. And then you have a person who controls how much you're allowed to get, how much you're allowed to spend. Then you have the situation of punishment, where when you don't do what is right, that the person will punish you by withholding money or punish you by not giving you money. And by money, I also mean the things money could buy. And that means paying your rent, or giving you access to a car, or giving you a credit card where you could go shopping, or you could pay a bill. So it can be literally handing you money, or it could be access to an account, or the ability to pay for things in a relationship. So like I said, instead of asking you directly, this person is going to kind of extort or bribe or threaten or pressure or get you to feel guilty about something, or get you to feel responsible that this person is helpless, incapable of taking care of themselves, or this person is accusing you of not being honest or doing something that makes it to where you end up giving them access to your accounts or to your money. Also, there's a situation where somebody could offer to pay things for you, or well, let me pay your apartment, or let me pay your rent, or let me pay all of your bills and take care of you. But there is a trade-off, something that you have to do or something that is owed, and this person's not being honest about that with you. And then this person is using that against you and threatening you with it, or causing you to feel guilty. Well, I've helped you with this, so what about this? You kind of owe me. Or if you don't do that, then I'm not going to help you anymore. I'm going to take this away. And again, you can have a healthy situation where somebody would tell you their expectations and then you don't meet them and they withdraw, say paying for your apartment as a college student, your parents are paying for that, or your parents are helping you with education, but your grades go down and they've let you know if your grades are below a certain point, grade point average, then they're not going to pay. I mean, all that is healthy. It is when somebody does it manipulatively, extortion, pressuring, bribing, threatening, causing you to feel guilty, responsible, that it becomes unhealthy. Then you also have people that demand money, and that could be an adult child, it could be an ex-spouse, it could be somebody that you have living with you, it could be a parent. And in this case, they are basically saying to you, help me with this or else, or you have to help me, and making you feel responsible, making you feel like you're responsible for taking care of them, responsible for their bills. And you have to kind of sift through that and look at, what's beneath this threat, what's going on. Do I owe this person? Do I not? Is it responsible for me to give money to this person? Is it healthy for me to give money? Am I willing to give money under these terms? Am I willing to give money in this situation? And again, you've got to sort through what is happening with the manipulation, the fear, the guilt, the helplessness that you see the person is feigning or claiming they're a victim and cannot do anything on their own, or the accusations that the person is putting on you and threatening you with, you're not loving, you're not reasonable, you're not a Christian, you're not a good mom, you're not a good dad, you're not a good wife, you're not a good husband, you're not a good partner, whatever it is, that this person is trying to make you feel guilty and responsible for them to get money out of you. So there is a lot of entitlement in the younger generation today. A lot of parents are finding out that their adult children are demanding money from them and threatening to cut off the relationship with them and or the grandkids if they don't give them what they want and continue to give them what they want. And this is really painful. It's a very difficult situation to look at. If I don't do this, then they're going to get mad and they're not going to let me have access to my grandkids. It's really sad. It is a reflection of where we are as a culture and society in the Western world, that this is literally epidemic, and it's a very difficult situation to be in. Talked to an estate attorney here in Orange County, California, which is a fairly, it's a, more of a middle class to affluent county. It's huge, lots of different cities. So there's also, lower income people here too. But the estate attorney said that he's busier helping parents protect their estates from their adult children who are trying to take it away from them while they are alive than he is in writing up new trusts. And I, again, am just like floored by that, just realizing that, wow, this is a huge, huge reflection of our culture and where we're at. Very sad, because young children adult children are not entitled to their parents' estates. They should be grateful that someday they are going to be receivers of all or a portion of their parents' estates. It does not belong to them. So it is very sad that they would use manipulative means to try to get those assets away from their parents before they are legally entitled to them. And again, showing they don't care anything about the relationship. So here are some things to consider. If you give money under duress or extortion or a bribe or a threat, you're going to be asked again. It's not going to be a one-time thing. When you give somebody something and they know, when a manipulator finds out that a particular tactic works, the manipulator learns from that and notes it and plans to come back and use the exact same threat again. You need to give because you choose to, not because you are pressured. 2 Corinthians 9:7 talks about God loving a cheerful giver. And he wants people to give because they choose to, not because they feel compelled. Therefore, you want to be able to know, I'm giving this because I want to, it's of my free will. And then you can give in a healthy way without strings attached. Unless if you have strings, like the example I gave you with the kid in college having to get decent grades, you clearly put those out where everybody knows what they are. You can even put them in writing, even if it's a family member, so that there's no confusion. And even have the person or both people sign it and have people know what they're getting into. Then also, you want to make sure that you know the financial situation of anybody that you give money to, so that you aren't making assumptions that they're, the person doesn't have any money or isn't working or, isn't able to pay bills, or maybe isn't paying an apartment payment, but is spending, thousands of dollars a month on frivolous things that they don't have to have. So whatever it is that you're doing and why, make sure you know. There's different levels of knowing in different circumstances, but just try to make sure that you are aware of what's really going on. Also, you want to, in a relationship, be careful about giving your paycheck to somebody and then not having access to the money or not having any control of the money. This happens a lot in relationships where a woman is told to submit and give her husband access to all the money, and then she loses access, and then it can be manipulatively doled out to her based on what she does, and that's just setting yourself up to do that. You have a right to know what's being done with money, and you also have a right to access to the money. If you're married, it's yours as much as the other person. There's different setups based on if it's a marriage later in life and all that kind of stuff. Sometimes you don't separate money, but be careful. Even in that situation, when you give a person access to your accounts or you give a person your paycheck, know what you're getting into and recognize, do not do that under duress, and do not do that if it is going to put you in danger or financial risk or be used manipulatively with you. So as far as taking money for someone, if somebody offers you money, when you accept money from someone, be careful that you're not accepting terms that the person is not telling you about. So clarify, why are you giving this to me? Is there any expectation? Is there anything I need to do? Do you want me to do certain things? Oftentimes people will give you something, even family members, parents, and then later on they'll kind of use it against you. Well, I gave you money, I gave you money for this, or they'll come back at you and you'll realize, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that there were expectations and terms. Healthy people talk about those up front. Unhealthy people don't talk about those up front, and then they throw them at you later, and it can cause problems in your relationship and your life. Make sure when you accept money that you recognize that you're going to have a different feeling in that relationship, of that somebody has given you something and maybe you owe them. It's going to be a little harder to say no to requests. It's going to be harder for you to maybe be honest with that person, because sometimes when people give you money, a lot of times they feel like they've bought a part of you, or you might feel like that. So don't take it if that's going to cause problems in your life, and that's not healthy. Also, don't give somebody power over your life by accepting the money and then giving them permission to control you, unless or have opinions, or have say into your life, or the ability to direct anything, unless you are clear and you trust that person and that person is healthy and that arrangement is something that is good for you and needed. Sometimes we do make those arrangements, and that's okay, as long as everything is clear and you're doing it out of free will and not out of manipulation. Remember, when somebody is offering you money, to check out their motives, to consider who the person is. Is it a somebody who is honest, healthy, or is it somebody who has a history of being unhealthy, manipulative, a poor communicator, resentful, an angry person, somebody who wants control, somebody who thinks things about you that you don't agree with? Also, you want to make sure that even if it's a family member, that you can write up that agreement, you can talk about it, you can look at it as a business deal, because one of the things that often happens with families with money is there ends up being misunderstandings, and then it breaks up a relationship. It's not worth it for money. So just letting you know, money can be used very easily manipulatively, and you've got to remember what you are getting into, whether you're giving or whether you're receiving money, and make sure that you're not giving into extortion, bribery, threats, unhealthy expectations, or anything that you are not doing under your own free will. Ecclesiastes 7:7 says, extortion turns a wise man into a fool, and a bribe corrupts the heart. So basically, those, whether it's coming from us or to us, it can change people, and it can change relationships. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching this video on Change My Relationship.